Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Miss and audience. My name is Shinnichi Vega, and I would like to present my pragmatic analysis of conventional implicature of Johann Liebert from Naoki Urasawa's Monster. Okay, let's begin. Now, I would like to give an introduction first. This is set in post-Cold War Germany. This one is set in East Germany, actually. The story follows Dr. Kenzo Tenma, a brilliant Japanese neurosurgeon who becomes a fugitive after tracking down a charismatic sociopathic serial killer, a monster he saved and feels responsible for unleashing upon the world. So, in this context, in a little backstory, if the audience read the manga, in the beginning, Dr. Kenzo Tenma is a principal and moral doctor, a principal and moral neurosurgeon. Yeah, so he prioritized human lives over wealth or riches or fame and whatnot. So one day, when Johann, when he was a little kid, he entered Tenma's hospital. He attended Johann's treatment first, rather than a famous politician. That's why Johann was saved, but he doesn't know that what is the background, what is the motives of Johann getting shot. Johann is known to be the master manipulators in manga and anime history, making him the most widely known and dangerous villains. His techniques of twisting words and derailing them from their actual meaning is very unique, hence the pragmatic analysis of his speeches and dialogues. So what makes it interesting is he does not threaten his victims, rather he twists words to his own meaning, to his own meaning, and actually convincing his victims of said meaning. We'll get deeper into that, but the overview is what I mentioned. He redefines those words and actually convinced his victims of such meaning. Now, we can see in here in the first data set, the rooftop with Richard Brown. Johann confronts Detective Brown, a recovering alcoholic who once shot a teenage criminal. He states, "You wanted to execute him, and you calmly pulled the trigger." The trigger exactly entails that Richard possessed full knowledge and control over his actions. Conventionally exactly implicates precision and intentionality, leaving absolutely no room for mitigating circumstances or excuses. So, a little backstory too. Richard Brown is a policeman, a detective actually, who has the authoritative rights to carry a firearm, and he is known to be an alcoholic, which he is trying to be sober now, but is still struggling. Okay, and he is currently divorced with his wife, and on the story he said here, tomorrow is to be set to meet with his daughter. As you can see in the panel, you were sober and calm. You want to execute him, and you pulled the trigger. He does not blackmail or threaten, but he realized Richard Brown, that you're not drunk when you did that. You said you wanted to quit to be an alcoholic, but you lied. Where is the truth? Where is the effort? So there is no gap that Richard can say or take to make it as an excuse for shooting that teenager. And in the next panel, you can say, "Well, would you like a drink?" Johann offers Richard a drink. The trigger about how conventionally implicates a suggestion, assuming Richard's need or desire. Combined with Richard's history of alcoholism, it forced acceptance that he is fundamentally weak, and his sobriety was always a fragile lie. So that's why Johann offering Richard a drink, meaning that he is he's encouraging him to drink again, to go back to his old bad side. Because of the overwhelming psychological pressure upon Richard and his deep dependency on alcohol, he took that drink, and the story later, he suicide. Next, the second data is the corruption of Milos. Disguised as Anna Liebert, which is Johann's twin sister, Johann tells the orphan Milosh, it is not a rare thing to happen when kids are born. Death is a normal thing. What is your reason to live? The trigger so indicates logical consequence. Literally, Johann observes birth is common and death is normal. Conventionally, so implicates that if death is normal and birth insignificant, then what is your reason to live? Is logically necessary rather than merely rhetorical. So he literally implies that if death is normal and birth happens if death is normal and it happens anyway, then why be born at all? What is your reason to live? What is the meaning that you were brought onto this world? You can see in here that Milosh has a conversation with Johann in disguise as Anna. Most of this universe is death anyways, meaning that by the end of the day, something or someone dies. So why you have to be born at all? What is the meaning? What is the true purpose of life? Putting on upon more psychological pressure to Milosh, the little kid here. Who wanted you? Because again, Milosh was an orphan. He does not know his mother. He does not know his father. But Milosh had a hope that that his mother wanted to see him, but it is broken. It is corrupted by Johann. Here trying to implicate that nobody wanted Milosh at all. Why are you alive? Is it because of somebody wanted you? Meaning that nobody wanted Milosh at all. Making Milosh questioning whether his real purpose was whether his real purpose was shattered or not, to find his mother. After the scene, this because of psychological pressure upon Milosh by Johann, made Milosh try to suicide. Yeah, how evil it is to try and make Milosh suicide by a later scene, but intervened by Tenma and Grimmer. Now, as you can see here in the continuation, Johann adds that if Milosh cannot find his mother, that means nobody wanted you. Like I said before, this implies that Johann tried to break the spirit, the intention of Milosh wanting to see his mother at least. You can see in the panel here, Milosh said, I'll see my mom. I'll see mom, won't I? Johann said, I'll wait here. Go and see her for yourself. You'll recognize her when you see her, and she'll recognize you when she sees you. But if no one calls out to you, that means nobody wanted you. This implies and is an effort by Johann to break Milosh's spirit, and starts to question himself, putting the psychological pressure upon him and leading to the attempted suicide of Milosh. Now, and here in the third data set is Schwald's realization. Hans-Georg Schwald is a tycoon, a rich conglomerate, and he owns a library. Johann tells Tycoon Schwald, I was born in a town that was straight out of a fairy tale. We were the only two people in the world and we had no names. So the backstory of this is, well, Johann and Anna were born in basically in Czechoslovakia before it separated. But the point is, they were born in Czechoslovakia out of an experiment. Okay, and Johann only has Anna because of the mother. Well, the mother abandoned them. He only has his twin and is heavily reliant and dependent on his twin, which is Anna Liebert, his sister. This trigger only conventionally implicates exclusivity. Johann describes a dyadic relationship. Conventionally only implicates that all other relationships, identities, and social bonds are excluded and meaningless. So Schwald expected that Johann would be bestowed his wealth, his fame to Johann, but Johann breaks that that the relationship between Johann and Schwald is just a fantasy. It's just a vague. It's just It's just a facade. It's nothing real. It's more of a mere attempted usage. Many people died, my other self and I held hands and walked, meaning that, well, like I said before, the only two people were Johann and Anna themselves. They have only each other in this world. Now, and you can see here in the final confrontation, Johan tells Tenma, all lives are equal to you, and you can see in the panel in here, the only thing all humans are equal in is death. This trigger only asserts that death is the sole universal equalizer. Literally, Johan claims death is common to all. Conventionally, only implicates that all other values, love, dignity, equality, are illusions, forcing Tenma to accept that humanism is naive. Now, this literally is Johan's last effort to bring Tenma to join the dark side. All right, to implement Johan's way of thinking. Pragmatically, meaning that he is psychologically pressuring Tenma to accept that Johan's way of thinking is rational, is logical too. You can see in here, the only thing all humans are equal in is death, which is not true. Johan feels that love, dignity, equality, the chance to live, the chance to feel emotions, everybody is equal. Therefore, there are no inequalities in life. And Johan's final words, which one was unwanted, use which to present a false dichotomy, implicating that one twin was necessarily disposable and that Johan's monstrosity was born from maternal rejection rather than created by circumstance. You can see in your panel here the backstory, like I said before. The mother abandoned Johan, but you can see in here Johan is disguised as Anna, attempt to confuse the mother, which one is Johan and which one is Anna. Apparently, the mother recognized Johan, even though behind the disguise, and abandoned him instead to the Czechoslovakia secret police. And as you can see here, she said, "Was my mother trying to protect me, or did she confuse me for my sister? Which one? Which one was unwanted?" Like I said before, the only thing Johan does not know is that what was on his mother's mind. Did she try to protect Johan by giving him to the Czechoslovakia secret police, or did she confuse Johan for Anna? Which one? This pragmatically means that, basically meaning that, am I unwanted? Which twin was unwanted? Was it Anna? Was it Johan? He literally forced which one of us is more valuable than the other. But in here Tenma knows that according to the mother, both twins are equal. It's just a forced circumstance that made the mother to decide between Johan or Anna. It appears to be, I don't know too, what made Johan was to be wanted to be surrendered to the Czechoslovakia secret police by the mother, but it here seems to be that Johan was deeply upset, deeply feel rejected because of such choices made by the mother. Therefore, making the maternal rejection was the source of his monster attitude. And it turns out it's just a hallucination by Tenma because of overexhaustion. The conclusion here is Johan does not threaten his victims. He alters the semantic landscape, so despair becomes the only logical conclusion you can see from the first and second data set of Richard Brown and Milosz, where he twists those words and make them realize of the disparity of the disparity of their own conditions, like Richard Brown as his alcoholism, and Milosz as the orphan of the unknown wanted or unwanted orphan. Urasawa's crafting of Johan as a linguistic antagonist reveals profound pragmatic understanding. The most terrifying monsters wield not weapons but words with surgical precision, making victims complicit in their own destruction. Meaning that he is the shepherd. He leads his victims to their own demise. He does not threaten them, nor does he request them, but he made them realize of their own mistakes, of their own flaws, of their own faults, of their own situation, leading to their victims to be desperate, to try to abandon life in this world as we know it. That would be the final conclusion. That would be all from me today. Thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.